Good Monday. This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Seafried and Brew. Well, Friday's unemployment number, with unemployment reaching 5.5%. Most people took that as positive news in here. But we've been looking at other kind of indexes that we believe the Fed is also taking into consideration over and above that headline employment number. One of the ones that we've talked about is actually produced by the Federal Reserve, their Labor Market Conditions Index. And where this tends to be a fairly up and down type index is that what we've seen over these past couple of years, it's remained in a fairly narrow range. And actually what we had this particular last time, even though in that is the unemployment number, the non-farm employment, that it actually had a downtick. And when we think about that, what are the things that really produce that? Well, one of the things that continues to weigh on that index is the labor force participation rate, which was at 62.8 this particular announcement. And we go back to where the low in September of 2014, 62.7. So one could argue that there really has been very little change in terms of that overall labor participation. Also another number in the U6, which really looks at all over unemployment, that actually headed up a touch to 11.3% in here. But the one thing that people talked about with this number that was questioning was change in average hourly earnings. And this particular release, only an increase of 0.1%. So we can see that this moves up and down a lot. And what we looked at is that, well, since the end of the recession, how much has that index moved up? And on average, it basically is 0.16%. So where we are now at that 0.1% is a concern in here that the Fed is taking into account in terms of that overall view of labor. But an interesting fact is that during the recession, that actually that index averaged up 0.25%. So even from the point where the economy was at its poorest, we still have not regained the average in terms of that increase in hourly earnings. This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Seafried and Brew. Have a great week.